Kendrick Perkins has argued the case and made the contention that Steph Curry is the greatest point guard of all time. And I would have to believe that means surpassing Magic Johnson. Let's listen to Kendrick Perkins.
Steph Curry is the greatest point guard of all time. Greatest point guard of all time. We talk about those 4,000 points and it impacting his legacy, right? Think about what it did to the league. It changed the NBA. It changed basketball forever. You talk about these guys that wish they could take these shots, these kids that wish they... Well, I'm actually in the gym watching these...
I'm not sure that's...
trying to take those shots, Bob. And when you think about it, when you think about Steph, he's one of the most skilled players to ever play the game of basketball. Already the best shooter to ever play the game of basketball. Top 5 in handles, right? And when it comes to finishing at the basket, but let me read this to y'all. Steph Curry, okay? There are only 2 players to win an Olympic gold medal, multiple MVPs, multiple NBA titles, and multiple scoring titles. That's Steph and Jordan.
That last little point he made is pretty good. The rest of it I could defeat kind of easily, but the last point he made put he and Jordan in a category. Obviously, I'm a Magic Johnson homer. I assume you're a Magic Johnson homer. Has Kendrick Perkins made a legitimate argument here?
No. The only way it would have been legitimate if he would have said, in my lifetime that I've seen. And to defend Steph, I've never looked at him as a pure point. I've always thought of him as the greatest combo guard ever. What unbelievable shooting acumen. Maybe the greatest ever. I think many people believe that. But when I think of a consummate point guard that, number one, thinks of distributing the ball and getting the offense into the right place for others, there have been many great point guards. Isaiah Thomas, John Stockton, Bob Cousy, guys of that ilk. They're all great. None of them, though, was 6'9". And there's this misunderstanding about Magic that he couldn't shoot. Was he a great shooter, per se? No. But was he Ben Simmons? Absolutely not. He had a good set shot, shooting off the dribble and creating his own space for the jumper was not his game. But if he swung the ball around, he had that set shot, and because he was 6'9", he can get it up over a lot of guys. Later in his career, he also became a really good post player. In fact, he spent more time in the post his last year or two than he did actually up top, it seemed like, in certain games. He had a junior sky hook. Okay, so he was an absolute mismatch downstairs. He had a left hand. He was ambidextrous. Also, the greatest floor vision I have ever seen of any player. Okay, so Steph Curry is unbelievable, but he could not do as many things, in my view, that a Magic Johnson. They were both kind of average defensively, but I looked at the numbers, and the numbers can lie. I agree. But in most years, Steph Curry as a point guard, if that's what you want to call him, Jason, you know he averages or is right around that range of 7 to 8.5 assists. Magic Johnson was always around 10 to 12. And in fact, his last year in 1991, the last real season, I don't count 96, but in 91, he still averaged 19.5 points and I believe right around 12 assists. And that was a Magic that lost a little bit of his athleticism. He became heavier. The Lakers under Mike Dunleavy that year, Jason, I probably watched 75 games of that season, regular season. They were much more of a half-court team. They were not Showtime anymore, okay? But he still led them to the NBA Finals and beat an unbelievably talented Portland Trailblazer team. So once again, here goes the new generation of media and fans disrespecting an all-time great. So you want to talk about what's wrong with NBA coverage? It ain't us old guys, Jason. I'll just tell you that much.
Here's where I think Kendrick underestimates Magic and where he thinks Steph has a real advantage. And again, I liked his argument at the end. But his argument in the middle was basically, hey, look, I'm looking at all these young kids, and they're all trying to make Steph shots. Steph has transformed the game. He's made it a three-point shooting league. and everybody a long distance shooting league. And look, he's changed the game more than anybody is his argument. And what I think he's missing is that Magic Johnson was a transformative player in the NBA, and his legacy is still living on in the NBA. Magic was the first, or we felt like the first, 6'9", oversized guy that played the primary ball handling position.
Hey, I had horrible experiences buying and selling my home, so we built Real Estate Agents I Trust so you could avoid the same frustration that I had. I don't know how to interview an agent, a real estate agent. Our agents share your sensibilities. You'll like them. They'll actually get the job done, and you'll become friends, really. If you're moving across town or across the country, visit realestateagentsitrust.com. The name says it all, realestateagentsitrust.com.
And literally ran the offense at 6'9". That had always been to the guys 6'3" and below. And so Magic Johnson's legacy still lives on. LeBron James plays a lot like Magic Johnson. 6'9" guy, the offense flows through, and he basically plays the point guard. All of these players now that are 6'7" and above, Magic Johnson is the guy that opened their eyes to, hey, you don't have to just play in the paint. You don't just have to be a forward. You can be a guard. You can run the offense from the forward position. Magic Johnson, a transformative player, his legacy still lives on in the NBA. A lot of these players, he opened the door for the oversized guys to do other things on the court besides playing the low post.
Well,
he's just as transformative. And just even the no-look passes and just trying to be a distributor, that's Magic Johnson's legacy.
I remember in that era, Jason, so Magic's rookie year was 79-80. And I will surmise that at his age, I believe he was 19 or 20, that game 6 he played against the 76ers without Kareem, 42, 12, and 7 or something like that's the greatest game that's ever been played by a young player with the magnitude of that game. But I remember that anytime there would be a new player that was above 6'6", whether it was Anthony Hardaway, Walt the Wizard Williams, Sean Elliott, and there were other guys, Lloyd Sweet Pea Daniels as a high schooler, they all said that's the next Magic. That's the next Magic. If you're above 6'6" and you could dribble the ball twice and run the offense, there inevitably became that's the next Magic. And no one really came close. I give Steph Curry a lot of credit in this sense. He is transformative in a sense that the pull-up three-pointer or the three-pointer early in the clock, there used to be a time you did that more than once if you weren't a star player. You know where you sat? Right next to the coach.